Okay, this is SillyMickel Adzema, and we've received the 10th Prasad. This is the 10th Prasad of the Great Reveal from the Planetmates. It reads like this. Rather than the natural state of being, awareness, and bliss, your state of omnipresent fear caused you to be ever more unable to accept the gifts of life and survival on nature's terms, which were uncertain, but on the other hand, adventurous and surprising. It is the state we enjoy and find blissful and playful and always interesting. Your fear made you unable to bear the uncertain state. So being impatient and therefore unwilling to receive sustenance and nurturing on nature's timetable, you first began taking control of when you would be nourished by adding Planetmate flesh to your former vegetarian diet. Your descent into aggression and savagery started here, because when you learned how to kill fellow planetmates, which had not been in your nature prior to the prematurity trauma, and your constant adult state of tension, it was not too long before you began to be able to kill each other, continuing to lose faith in the reality of divine perfection, love, and nurturing, which all other planetmates know without doubt. You thought you needed to compete over resources, and sometimes to kill your own to keep from starving, or to keep from being killed. The first was your delusion. The second was your delusion made real among yourselves. It's quite a contrast that they're making here between the state of the planetmates, which is, for those who haven't been following or haven't heard any of the other prasads, um, the state of we're talking about the state of the other beings that we share this planet with, the ones that we know of, animals and all other living forms, all living life forms on this planet, besides ourselves. Now, and what they're saying, they're bringing this great reveal to us in the form of these prasads, and this is the 10th one. And what they're saying is that is a, their natural state is one of being, awareness, and bliss. And they're contrasting that with our state, which they're calling a state of omnipresent fear. And they're saying that because of that omnipresent fear, which in earlier prasads they pointed out was related to a particular kind of early premature birth that characterizes our species, and birth pain that characterizes our species, and birth trauma, which leads us to the rest of our lives to be in a state of overstimulation and crazed, panicky kind of fear and anxiety that that this state of omnipresent fear, or underlying fear, or whatever, um, causes us to be unable to accept uh, being alive. You know, accept existence the way they accept it, which is one of being, awareness, and bliss. Instead, we're unable to accept the gifts of life and survival on nature's terms because they're uncertain. And they're pointing out that for us, it's uncertain, but for them, that means it's adventurous and surprising. They say that they enjoy that state. They find it blissful, playful, always interesting. If you were to think about it, and think if you were to imagine that this life was just a game, like any other game, play poker or whatever game you like, and you were to imagine that, can you imagine the game being controlled, knowing the ending, knowing who was going to win? Some people might like that, but uh, the fun is in not knowing how it's going to turn out. And what they're saying is that they see their lives that way, as being uncertain, but that's the fun. That it's blissful, playful, always interesting, surprising. as they pointed out, adventurous and surprising. Okay, but they say our fear made us unable to bear the uncertain state, which they find so much fun. And they said being impatient and therefore unwilling to receive sustenance and nurturing on nature's timetable, which would mean like earlier they were pointing out that we were foragers and that therefore, we would receive as sustenance whatever nature provided. We would forage and we get lucky, and sometimes we wouldn't get so lucky, and that would be uncertain, and sometimes there would be uh, feasting and sometimes fasting. Uh, and They think that makes it interesting. You don't know what you're going to get. Kind of like a Forrest Gump attitude towards life. Um, um, but we don't want to be like Forrest Gump. You never know what you're going to get. We want to know what we're going to get all the time, which kind of makes we want life to be predictable. As some people will point out, their lives have become predictable, and then they say it's predictably boring. So that's that's our uh, that's our conflict, the conundrum. That's our conflict. Is we want life to be predictable, but then we don't want it to be predictable. We want it to be exciting, but it's our fear that pushes us to try and control it. And they were pointing out that control is the core of our um, control is the core problem that we have. It's the major, it's the crux of how we are crazy. We want to control things instead of enjoying the surprises that the divine would give us or would bring to us, and having faith that we're being taken care of.